Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and super chat if you can. So, big developments are happening right now around the XRP and the broader crypto industry. We're seeing three major headlines today. The Clarity Act could soon move to the Senate to vote. Ripple Labs is expanding crypto payment services in Brazil. And the XRPL just crossed an incredible milestone. Over 7.7 million holders. These developments touch regulation, global adoption, and network growth all at once. So today we're going to break it down what this could mean for XRP. So real quick, welcome back to the channel. If you follow XRP news, crypto adoption, and market developments, you're in the right place. Today we're covering some of the biggest XRP updates happening right now. So let's get started. But before we get into this, let's do the quick shout out to. Actually, let me start the screen share and see what we can see. But this is a quick shout out to our friends over at Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is the sponsor for the BTM Crypto News Network. So big shout out to Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is a crypto brokerage. You can sign up using my link in the description. You get like 5% off or something, or 10% off. But it does help the channel. So I do get proceeds from you signing up. Caleb and Brown is also one of the sponsors for the XRP conference in Vegas coming up. I think is at the end of April. I think I got to go back and check. Actually, I need to double check that. It's probably pretty important. But they are one of the sponsors, so XRP will be there. Caleb and Brown will be there, and all your XRP partners will also be there. Caleb and Brown gives you 24/7 support, a one-on-one brokerage assigned, one-on-one broker assigned to you. So you don't have to start over. Your broker knows you and can help you, and also provides very useful information and kind of helps you along your crypto journey. So big shout out to Caleb and Brown. What up, Dave? What's going on with your fam? But Caleb and Brown is useful if you're new to crypto because they also self-custody your crypto, and you don't have to worry about your passwords or your key phrases or your seed phrase, so you won't get locked out of your crypto. So big shout out to Caleb and Brown for sponsoring the BTM Crypto News Network. So again, we're going over to the bubbles, and we'll start with, let's look at the bubbles, then we'll get into the regulation with the Crypto Act. So currently on the bubbles, we have Safe is up 4.4, Quant is up 3.8, Flux is up 1.7, ZBCN is down 1%, XPR is up 2%, unchanged on the hour, up 4.1 on the day, up 3.3 on the month, down 36% on the year to 0.002.4. Prime is up 0.8, Theta is up 1.1, Bitcoin CS is up 1.6, POW is up 4.5. Caspa's running crazy today, up 10.3% to 3 cents. That's weird. I was at 3 cents, up 10%, still at 3 cents. Down 1.1 the hour, up 20.4 on the week, up 14.7 for the month, and down 51.7 for the year. Polymesh is up 38.8%. Toncoin is up 1.3. Zcash is up 0.4. XVC is up 3.3. Cardano is up 0.2. Jasmine's up 3.6. Helium is up 7.3. Hashflow is up 3.2. Metal's up 2.2. Casper is up 5.4. BitTensor Tau is up 1%, 42% on the week, 53% on the month, and 9.6 on the year to $284.42. Alchemy pays up 2%. Just making sure I didn't skip anything. Then going over to the market movers. Bitcoin is 74,487, up 0.6 on the day, down 0.2 on the hour, up 6.3 on the week, down 8.3 on the month, and down 11.4 on the year to 74,000. Bitcoin's been holding pretty steady with everything else that's going on in the world, so it's actually pretty good. Ethereum is 2,324, down 0.2 on the day, 0.5 on the hour, up 13.9 on the week, up 18.6 on the month, up 19.8 on the year. And of course, our favorite cross-border payment processor is $1.53, up 0.2 on the day, down 0.2 on the hour, up 10.2 on the week, up 4.2 on the month, and still down 34.7 on the year. But we did know it was going to come back eventually. So this is a short from who is this? Crypto Sensei with BlackRock in XRP partnership. Let's see what he has to say.
In the XRP space say the reason BlackRock hasn't moved forward with an XRP ETF is because there's something deeper planned between Ripple and BlackRock, that they have NDAs, and possibly you will see Ripple involved and XRPL involved in tokenizing some of BlackRock's ETFs. I don't know that to be true. I haven't seen anything that I can point to say that's exactly what's happening. But I can tell you that I've seen the speculation online. I don't agree with the speculation, but I know there's some XRP holders and content creators on X that are making the case that BlackRock is going to do this with the XRP ledger. We'll see, right? This is probably going to be through their own type of platform, you would imagine, but they could use XRP in the background to buy and sell and do things. We'll have to see how it plays out.
So it is definitely going to be interesting what happens here with BlackRock. And that would make sense if they didn't get the ETF yet. Keep saying they're not going to get the ETF. So I don't know, but this is XRPL reaches 7.7 million holders. Now, here's the major milestone. The XRP ledger has officially crossed 7.7 million holders after 13 years of operation. That kind of growth shows how much the ecosystem has expanded over time. More holders can mean broader global interest, increased network participation, and growing awareness of the technology. And we have an article here. Let's look at the article. XRP, Ethereum outpaced Bitcoins after Bitcoin jumps to 76,000. Sparks 461 million liquidations. Weird. Bitcoin's upswing to nearly 76,000 triggered a 491 million liquidation, with shorts accounting for the majority. XRP and Ethereum led gains among crypto majors on Tuesday morning, while the broader crypto market held above 2.6 trillion. All three tokens saw an uptick in retail chatter on stock twits over the past day. Bitcoin struggled to hold the 74,000 on Tuesday, while Ripple and Ethereum continue to outperform the Apex crypto. Cryptocurrencies continue to hold. We're looking for damn it. Continue to hold while equities dropped in pre-market trade. Gold prices edged lower after tensions between the U.S. and Iran sent oil prices back above $100 following President Trump's comment indicating that there may be issues with the U.S.-backed plan to restore shipping in the Strait of Hormuz or something. I'm just opening something else here on this other screen. Where were we? Overall, the crypto market added 0.3 higher in the last 24 hours, holding above 2.6 trillion. Bitcoin climbed to nearly 76,000 on Monday, and sequential pairs of gains led to 491 million in crypto bets being wiped out. CoinGlass data showed that most small positions or short positions totaling around 326 mil won. Bitcoin prices was traded around 73,600 in the early morning trades, up 0.6 in the last 24 hours. Retail sentiment on StockWiz for the cryptocurrency remained bullish territory over the past day. Chatter increased to normal from low levels, while users on the platform think Bitcoin has bottomed out and post gains moving forward. Others believe that Bitcoin is likely to reverse gains and find lower lows before the bear market subdues. Altcoins lead gains in latest crypto rally. XRP and Ethereum lead gains among the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization on Tuesday. XRP rose 2.6% and held above the $1.50 mark after reaching the intraday high of $1.60. The altcoin remains nearly 60% below its record high of $3.65 seen in July last year. Retail sentiment around XRP on StockWiz flipped to bearish. No, I was right. From bullish to bearish territory over the past day, and chatter climbed from high to normal levels. Ethereum gained 2.6 in the last 24 hours to 2,300, still 50% below its record high of nearly 5,000 in August. Leading altcoins also saw uptick chatter from high to normal levels over the past day. Retail sentiment remains bullish in the zone. The fallout from the U.S. Iran war continues to shape retail sentiment, with cryptocurrencies faring better than equities and gold in the last 2 weeks. The United States Oil Fund, USO, was up as much as 3.6% in pre-market trades at nearly 120 after Trump suggests some countries were less than enthusiastic about a plan to help escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. On StockWiz, USO saw retail sentiment dip to bullish from extremely bullish territory of the past day, but chatter remains at extremely high levels. So that was the article about the that's weird because I thought this was something. about the 7.7 million. So let's bring this over and bring this over. Because actually, didn't you say anything about the holders, huh? That's weird. Let me check, open up something as well. Ooh, who's this? Interesting. Our ETF tracker and the what is this? Okay, see, this is the ETF. What is that? That's weird. If this is the ETF tracker, this is the ETF terminal. I'm tripping. This is the radar. So it's the terminal, the radar, and there is one more quick. Oh yeah, this XRP. Dang it. Just looking for this article. Where did it go? Let's see. Where is this? That's the radar. Where is this link? Should be right in here somewhere. That's strange. Okay, there we go. I'm tripping. Okay, add this over here. Add this over here. Maybe moves this time. And this is the article. Oh, this is the article about the 7.7. What the freak is this then? I'll paste. Okay, that was sent us in a rabbit hole. But the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act could reach vote in the Senate committee before Easter, according to Senator Kevin Cramer. The legislation is designed to provide clear regulation guidelines for crypto assets in the United States. What does that mean? Because crypto regulatory clarity has been one of the biggest uncertainties in the crypto industry. Clarification of digital assets, regulatory oversight, and potential impact on innovation. And next is Ripple expanding into Brazil. Ripple Labs is reportedly looking to expand crypto payments services in Brazil. Brazil's become one of the most active crypto markets in Latin America. Expanding payment infrastructure and growing markets could help increase the use of the blockchain technology for cross border transactions. Emerging markets and crypto adoption, cross border payment demand, and fintech growth in Latin America. So let's look at X real quick before we start going deeper into these articles. But this is the crypto market. Currently, crypto market is 2.54 trillion, up 0.5. CNC20 is $154.56, up 0.55. Fear and greed is now back in neutral. We were in fear and extreme fear for a long time. Altcoin season is 49 out of 100. So we're definitely pulling away from Bitcoin dominance, getting a lot closer to altcoin season. You can see altcoins are making a move. Crypto RSI is currently 57.9, getting back to overbought territory, which it was yesterday, and you saw the price surge. XRP is currently 153 or a dollar. I wish 100. $1.53, up 35% in the last 24 hours. Market cap is 93.9 billion, up 0.35%. 24-hour trading volume is 4.9 billion, up 13.84%. The XRP ledger building ecosystem entered a new phase. Learn more. Bitcoin stable, but attention is shifting to high conviction trades and majors like XRP. Large traders, Artos opened a 7.7 million long on XRP at $1.39. And the position's already sitting at 618,000 unrealized profit as the price moved towards $1.53 and $1.60. What stands out isn't just the size, it's the structure. The position appears to use 2x leverage and no clear liquidation pressure, suggesting controlled long-term bet rather than a short-term gamble. At the same time, the broader crypto market supports a move, 11.7 million in liquidations, major shorts, XRP rebounding after recent weakness. Network activity rises, 7.7 million wallets, higher active addresses. This combination, price recovery, short squeeze, on-chain growth, is typically what attracts larger players. Still, the key levels to watch is $1.60 to $1.65 zone. A clear break could open further upside, which rejection keeps XRP in range. So that's interesting. We're looking to break out. Not to be the told you so guy, but I told you things were going to change soon. XRP is back in the spotlight, reclaiming the spot of the fourth largest crypto after its market cap surged past 90 billion. While it briefly touched $1.60, the market is now at a major crossroads. The bull case analysts like Dr. Profit and Cassie Trades are eyeing a massive target of $6 as a conservative gold, even double digits if we break the $1.80 to 200 resistance zone. The bear warning: it's not all green candles. If XRP fails to flip $1.80 into support, experts warn a potential flush back to 80 cents or 90-cent range. Chart Nerd highlights that until we clear major hurdles, the structure remains vulnerable. The XRP consolidation near $1.50 is the breather before a moonshot to 240 or heading for a discount entry at 80 cents. And these guys keep talking about going back to 80 cents as if they are hedged on making it happen. So just be patient. So this is currently, we are 15-minute chart. RSI is at 57.03, base RSI is 62. So they are staying at oversold. Looks like it's bearish on the 5, and they're building volume on the 15 minutes. 45-minute is showing the RSI is above the RSI base moving average, and it is bearish and building volume as well. With the RSI above the base moving average, that's showing that the crypto for the RSI is still in the oversold or overbought, which brings our price at that 153 on the 45-minute. On the 2-hour, RSI is 62.4 under the 67.3 RSI base moving average. Building some volume on the 2-hour. Holy smoly. Looks like it's bearish on the 2-hour and they're losing volume. And that would be back into the oversold territory. 4-hour. Looks like the RSI is right there at the RSI base moving average. That's still keeping us in the oversold territory, and we're bullish and we're building volume on the 4-hour. Let's look at the ETFs. Currently, spot ETF is 19.8. Leverage volume is 30.9 million. Let's go. Bitwise is up 0.35% to $17.17. 11.1 million in 24-hour volume today. Canary Capital 16.3, up 0.3%. 3.2 million. Franklin XRP is $16.65, up 0.12% to 2.2 million. Grayscale's at $29.75, almost back at $30. So we're almost getting back to the money, guys. At 0.07, 1.52 million. Rex Osprey is up 0.12 to $12.59, 282,000. And 21 shares is 0.20% up to $14.95, 146,000 in 24-hour trading volume. Turcom X2 is 16.24 million, up 0.78 to $5.14. Freaking volatility shares 2X is $53.83 at 0.37% to 9.7 million. Regular volatility shares is unchanged, which is weird, at $8.72. 7.89 in the last session. Pro shares is up 0.41 to $4.92, 2.19 million. And amplifies 16.41, 0.80% up with 103K and 24-hour trading. How is volatility shares 2X up so high and it's barely even moving? But keeping it moving, on the XRP ledger for the last 30 days, distributed asset value is down 16% to 404.4 million. Represented asset value is 1.4 billion, down 2.21% in the last month. Stablecoin market is 401 mil won, down 5.02% on the last month. RWA count is 218. RWA holders is 24. Stablecoin holders is 52.7 thousand, up 48.4% in the last month. 30-day RWA transfer is 10.3 mil won, down 93.10%. Stablecoin 30-day transfer volume is 918 mil won, down 10.2% in the last month. RWAL is 315 million, down 9.3 on the last month. And the RWA radar, I'm tripping. XRP radar. Escrow is 30.9 billion. Circuit supply is 60 billion. XRP burn is 14.3 mil on. XRL USD's 1.5 billion. Exchanges hold 14.1%. ETFs is 761 mil won. DeFi and AMM is 241 million. Tokenized RWA is 1.5 billion. Treasury is 473.3 million. Upbit, wow, lost 5.8 million. Still holds 38.3% of the exchange supply. Binance is unchanged at 16.6%. BitThumb added 3.3 million on exchange to 12.7. Uphold added 1,000 to 11.7% of the exchange supply. Bybit is 73,000, 4.1. CoinCheck is 234,000, 3.9%. eToro is 28,000, 3.4%. Crypto.com added 1.9 million to 2.4. Coin One added 61,000 to 2.2. And Bitflyer added 226,000 to 1.3. So let's see. I guess we can go back over to X. What is this? Everton. When those two lines converge, that stupid bot will start to sell off base the RSI. The RSI is the only averaging past performance, not breaking catalyst that pumps the price. It takes time for RSI to register price discovery. When XRP pumps, RSI will show overbought until the RSI catches up. You're right. The indicator lags for some weird reason, but it is what it is. There's a major announcement partnership coming on Friday for Zebek, and I suspect Zebek could be announcing the partnership with XRP. XRP liquidity on Binance sees a significant increase with a 1.7 billion reserve spike, indicating potential shifts in market demands or dynamics. Stay informed of developments. Ripple looks to expand payments and services in Brazil. I think I have that article here. I thought I did, but we'll open this one and come back to it shortly. So this is crypto regulations heating up in U.S. Clarity Act is reportedly edging closer to a Senate Banking Committee markup. Regulatory isn't coming to slow down crypto. It's coming to unlock serious capital. The market is evolving. Are you?
We need U.S. guardrails, the type of guardrails that clearly delineate between commodities and securities, that clearly delineate between traditional banking and non-traditional banking. The rules of the road have to be clarified for the security of our, by the way, of our financial institutions. That they're not unimportant in this debate, obviously. We have a wonderful legacy of diverse financial institutions, from credit unions and community banks all the way to the big ones. And so we need to look out for that. But we also, though, cannot allow digital assets and digital industry to go overseas, go offshore, lose that innovative edge that is clearly an American edge if we do it right. So I think Cynthia's right on point. Time is not our friend when we get much past Easter and get deeper into this political year. So I think we need to have the right guardrails. I think one of our banking committee members says it best. We know we did the right thing when they all dislike us the same.
Yeah.
And so we have to find that middle ground.
Shout out to, say who this guy is, Senator, talking about finding the middle ground for the Clarity Act. Keep it moving. And make sure you sign up for the BTM Crypto News Network to stay updated on news and events. This is Zach Humphreys. What are you talking about, Zach? XRP adoption is getting started. Evernorth and the breakdown of yield strategy that could be coming soon. The digital treasury companies for Ripple and what that means for institutional adoption.
Just getting started. That is what Evernorth chief had to say about the massive potential that lies ahead for XRP. We're going to break down exactly what he said. We'll take a look at some price action. XRP very much tied to Bitcoin right now. As Bitcoin goes, so goes the altcoin market. We're seeing some outliers. We're going to break down everything you need to know right now in this video. Drop your X's in the chat if you're part of the XRP army, part of the community. Let us know you guys are here. Here on this channel, if you are brand new, my name's Zach, been around for 5+ years. We don't have it all figured out. We're not going to give you hype. We're not going to give you crazy price targets that don't make any sense mathematically, but we are going to be excited about the future, excited about the progress of a lot of assets within the cryptocurrency market. And we break down what we see, moves we're making, plays we're taking every single day. So if you want to be part of our community, a realistic approach to the markets, make sure you guys do subscribe, hit that like button, drop your X's in the comments. Let's jump in, guys. Let's not waste any more time. let's have a look first at the article here that I wanted to highlight. Thought this was pretty interesting. So basically, Evernorth, of course, a big part of Ripple's story now. It says here the narrative around XRP is shifting toward long-term use rather, by major institutions. In a recent XRPL Japan live space, Evernorth's chief business officer said XRP has a massive amount of potential in global finance and could be used across many industries. We often forget XRP, while it's a US-based company, actually has a strong imprint on other pockets of the world, like Japan, like the Middle East, like Africa, etc. And he said XRP could become core financial infrastructure, especially in cross-border payments worth over 150 trillion annually. Regulatory clarity in the United States and Europe is unlocking institutional demand and driving inflows into XRP-linked products. Evernorth plans to build an XRP treasury strategy that generates yield while supporting DeFi growth in the XRPL ecosystem. This to me is some pretty big news, considering hearing about it and Solana ETFs that are yield bearing. We already see what Bitmine's doing with Ethereum.
So Evernorth wants to be the micro strategies of XRP, right? They're investing big in hopes of when it takes off, they'll be the leading holder of XRP, which is really smart. And I think they are doing a pretty smart thing. So let me know in the comments. Do you think that that's a good move or not? If the U.S. takes too long to make crypto rules of the road, another country will take the lead for global crypto. I'm tired of the U.S. politicians making the same speech on crypto to the press. The Evernorth Ripple deal should be approved before the end of the month. I think you're right on both sides there, Everton. What up, Crypto Clay? Where you been hiding at, fam? Yes. They keep dragging their feet on this clarity. If they don't get it passed, somebody else is going to pass it and they're going to run with crypto. But I've been saying that the whole time. As these guys keep dragging their feet for reasons unknown, somebody else is going to come out of nowhere and take over. So I don't know what the fight is. I know that they don't want to pay the yields, and the banks are pushing back because the banks don't want to lose control of your payroll and your deposits. And I think that's what the problem is. The banks know that they will no longer be able to go crazy on your deposits and crush you with fees because you'll have alternatives. So they're pushing back hard, but they are hurting not just the crypto, but they're hurting us, right? They're hurting the US because the more we fight the bank for these yields that they can easily afford to pay, we are slowly falling behind in the crypto market, of which we once had a major lead. So I don't know why these guys won't pass it and work it out on the back end somewhere versus trying to be control of everything and lose out big, right? Just take the L, pass the freaking legislation, and let's get going, guys. I'll be moving 25% of my 401k to Evernorth once available. My man, crypto. That's not financial advice, guys. This is just for entertainment purposes. But if so, yeah, I'm definitely moving, being part of the Evernorth with the microcellular approach to crypto investing, right? Getting big early on and watch the money pile up, right? Watch the money stack up. But we'll see. But let's get back to the video. I've been working away, brother. Liberty just started her fast pitch practice. Been busy. Oh, yeah, bro. I already know. The defense contractors and military folks are working around the clock. Wish I can get back on the working with the military contractors, because these guys are about to ball out of the frame if there is war brewing, right? There's lots of money in defense contracts. I'm just throwing that out there. But again, let's get back to the video.
I think XRP needs this moving forward, right? A treasury strategy that generates yield long term. So Shah, again, from Evernorth, described XRP as becoming a structural to finance, particularly in the global payments industry. He highlighted cross-border payments as a key opportunity, noting that the market exceeds 150 trillion annually, yet this enormous market remains inefficient and costly under traditional systems. According to him, high fees and slow settlement times on legacy rails create a strong case for blockchain-based alternatives like the XRP ledger. He pointed to the end of Ripple's lawsuit as a big turning point, and now you've got supportive frameworks for XRP. Of course, we know this. This clear regulatory environment appears to be unlocking institutional participation. The question is, what's going to drive people into XRP over the rest? Well, he believes this treasury strategy is a way forward. At the center of this institutional shift is Evernorth's treasury approach. The firm plans to accumulate XRP and deploy it across the XRPL ecosystem to generate yield while supporting decentralized finance development. This aligns with earlier remarks from CEO of Evernorth, who noted that institutional DeFi infrastructure on the XRP ledger has reached a point where TradFi can begin moving on-chain at scale. So they aim to play a dual role, Evernorth does, generating returns on XRP holdings while injecting liquidity XRPL protocols. The company also intends to support the network more directly by running validators and contributing to new technical standards. Said despite the growing momentum, Shah emphasized that the market remains early in its life cycle. He pointed to the combination of regulatory clarity, institutional capital inflows, and expanding use cases as signals that XRP's adoption curve is only.
Not that I want to get too geopolitical here, Clay, but we're definitely still sending materials somewhere. So I don't know what's going on with those guys. We might have to continue to keep dropping. And if we're dropping, we got to be building, right? Got to increase that supply. So there's definitely still materials being processed. I'll leave it at that. And we're in the materials business, so we definitely want, this is Texas, baby. We definitely want these guys to keep building materials, right? We're in the materials business. And if not for them, we need to stockpile in case there's something else coming down the line with what was that? What is it? Dang it. Cuba and whoever else wants some, right? Come get it. We got it all day. Come get some. But by Flare 2, where do you think Evernorth will be deploying XRP? Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Nothing left. I guess those missiles and drones are being ordered by Iran like Domino's pizzas are being ordered by Iran. Flare Force, baby. I'm looking for XRP staking through Ripple for the future. And also, someone did mention XRP, Ripple, using your XRP for lending. And I definitely could use, so I'm definitely picking up more XRP because you could lend it out and not spend it. I definitely want to do that. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about the lending. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit your main man up with a super chat. Let's get back to the video.
Beginning. So Evernorth does plan to list on the NASDAQ under ticker XRPN. And we've seen some other ones out there, of course, MicroStrategy for Bitcoin. We've seen Evernorth now with XRP. We've got Bitmine for Ethereum and many others, but those are the main ones we're focusing on here and some of the top ones. But it'll be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. I think it'll be great for XRP. Now, considering where we are in the overall market, Bitcoin trying to create a new floor at $74,000. If it does, XRP could be creating its own new floor at at $1.50. And so, when we look at this, XRP about flat here on the month, literally up 0.01%. So nothing really doing for XRP in the last month. Although, if you look at the last year, we're down 35%. So this sideways action, I'll take it. Hopefully it shows us that there's a resurgence. Remember, earlier this year, we had a pop in the price of XRP to start the year. We came up from 180 up to 230, 235, and it was a great start to 2026. And then we got hit hard, and we dropped down to $1.12. Right now, everything comes back to Bitcoin for XRP. I don't see XRP moving on its own. I know, as many people on this platform and wherever you're listening to this say, XRP is different. It's going to listen, guys. So much liquidity in crypto is still tied to Bitcoin, and the risk on, risk off environment. Eventually, XRP maybe could break loose and kind of do its own thing. We saw a little bit of that during the last previous bull run, where XRP did like a 6x in a 5-week stretch, obviously outperforming the rest of the market. I think those little pockets could still exist, but right now in this structure that we're in the market, Bitcoin is very, very critical to XRP support, or XRP success, I should say. And so that's what we're watching. Bitcoin, again, trying to form a new low. We'll see if it creates a plateau at 74K throughout this week. I think if we got some sideways action here, I'd be ecstatic. If XRP stayed at $1.50 for the next 2 months, that would be phenomenal, because it would show us that we're kind of slowly but surely getting out of this bearish time in the market. XRP is still the top 5 crypto. Outside, you take Tether away, you've got Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP. BNB and XRP neck and neck in market cap right now. I mean, literally side by side, 92 billion to 91 billion. But overall, I think the proposition here for XRP is still big in terms of cross-border payments. I just think there's a bigger opportunity right now in tokenization moving forward. I know I've been saying that for a really long time. I want to reiterate that. I think with cross-border payments, you've got some real competition with the stable coins now, right? And I think where XRP and Ripple could have their edge or their advantage, obviously you want the institutional backing and support by way of ETFs and treasury companies, which all are happening, which is great. But in terms of like its biggest growth proposition for XRP, I still firmly believe their biggest growth opportunity is in the tokenization of real-world assets. What they're doing with Ondo Finance, what they're doing in Dubai with real estate, even though real estate in Dubai is down 60% since the war started, which is crazy. I think they can get in other regions and other pockets and really become a big player there. I think the market is probably more fruitful for crypto companies that aren't stablecoin companies, in my opinion, opposed to the cross-border payments. Might be an unpopular opinion, but not afraid to kind of just speak my mind here, guys. I don't have it all figured out, but that's what I do every single day. I kind of just get on here and rant and talk with what the information I have, and love to hear from you guys in the comments. Do you believe that to be true? What do you believe? How are you looking at the markets right now? If you want some more further insight into analytics, etc., I do.
So shout out to Zach Humphreys there as well, and those updates. This is great news. The Clarity Act could hit the banking committee vote before Easter, according to Kevin Kramer, I guess.
Paying rewards, or do yeah, exactly. So where does it stand? What do you want to say to those people thinking, well, maybe the crypto platforms are winning here? Are they winning in terms of paying rewards? Or do you agree that they shouldn't be paying rewards because it's competition for the banks?
Yes. So you laid it out perfectly. I think we need to get to something. We need U.S. guardrails, the type of guardrails that clearly delineate between commodities and securities, that clearly delineate between traditional banking and non-traditional banking. The rules of the road have to be clarified for the security of our, by the way, of our financial institutions. That they're not unimportant in this debate, obviously. We have a wonderful legacy of diverse financial institutions, from credit unions and community banks all the way to the big ones. and so we need to look out for that. But we also, though, cannot allow digital assets and digital industry to go overseas, go offshore, lose that innovative edge that is clearly an American edge if we do it right. So I think Cynthia's right on point. Time is not our friend when we get much past Easter and get deeper into this political year. So I think we need to have the right guardrails. I think one of our banking committee members says it best. We know we did the right thing when they all dislike us the same.
Yeah.
And so we have to find that middle ground.
But I'm just wondering, I mean, is this going to lead you all to have to open the Genius Act to change language there? I mean, is that an issue right now?
Yeah, so you're right on a very specific point. That deals with the yields or the interest on the assets and who can offer those and who cannot. And, you know, the bankers feel like there's a loophole in Genius that allows the third parties, the intermediaries, the PayPals of the world, if you will, to pay on those assets. Perhaps that would be a way to go if we just clarify that. I think, though, we don't want to do, Maria, as miss this moment. While time is somewhat of the essence,
right.
We did do the housing bill that is behind us. We are on the Save America Act this week. That will take some oxygen, but we can do two things at the same time, and certainly the committee can. So yeah. I think we have to make this a committee priority for sometime just before Easter or shortly after.
Okay, so.
And that's what we did mention previously. It's got to come, bro. It's got to get going, guys. You got to get it passed. Somebody, anybody, do something quickly. Make sure your XRP is securely stored in decentralized wallets connected to Web3 to have full control of your funds and maximize security, thus avoiding losing them to cyber attacks. The market is watching closely. HashDex has filed a 8K announcing permanent reduction of management fees for HashDex NCIQ to 0.25%. The multi-asset ETF tracks major assets including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, Link, and XLM, providing diverse exposure to the crypto market. Interesting. Not 100% sure I follow all of that, but seems pretty interesting. MasterCard just scooped up BV and K for stablecoin rails across 130 countries right after pulling Ripple into their crypto partnership program, with RLUSD already piloting card settlement on XRPL. Do you see all the pieces fitting together? XRP will power the new world of finance. We've been telling people that for months, years, and nobody's listening. Breaking news, XRP reported being considered to replace the entire U.S. SWIFT system, opening the door for a massive 1.5 quadrillion market. It just happens. Some projections point to XRP blasting past 3,000 per coin. Trillions are preparing to enter the XRPL powered by Real Token, a project aiming to digitize the global real estate market with potential 100 billion market cap. Real could skyrocket from 0.04 to as high as 998.90 upside, with projected 100 billion market cap. Some estimates suggest Real could rise from 0.43 to 998. I don't even know what Real is.
Move value in real time, in seconds.
Let's see what this guy's talking about.
XRP is like a Bitcoin. It's a digital asset. It's today the third most valuable digital asset. And what we do is we take a transaction between banks, and instead of having a bank pre-fund an account at the other bank, which is how correspondent banking works today. The Bank of Brad in dollars would pre-fund the Bank of Julia, perhaps in pounds, and then I would debit and credit that. But that means I have to pre-fund and have dormant capital sitting at that other bank. What we allow banks to do, we allow payment providers to do, is to tap into the liquidity of XRP liquidity. So today, there's lots of liquidity between XRP and US dollar. There's lots of liquidity between XRP and British pound. And you could tap into that to move value in real time, in seconds. And even compared to Bitcoin, which takes up to 12 minutes to complete one transaction, XRP is extremely fast at about 3 seconds per transaction. That has meant XRP is extremely scalable in contrast to how Bitcoin works. The consumer itself doesn't actually see that it's flowing through XRP to solve the problem. What the consumer sees is simply a better product at a better price. And so we're seeing more momentum than we've ever had around using XRP to move this liquidity around the world. And so we couldn't really be happier about how that has played out in a world where there's still a lot, I think, of FUD, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt about what's going on in crypto. This is a real use case solving a real problem for real customers.
Shout out to Brad for that. Crypto Clay. Safe America Act is more important than clarity, not even close. It is, but these guys are going to drag that out. They're going to drag that Safe America out as long as possible. I would be utterly surprised if it passes before the summer. These guys are dragging their feet on that like it's going out of style. This is Ripple looks to expand crypto payment services in Brazil. The blockchain firm is adding custody, payments, and brokerage tools to digital asset management and tokenization as it plans to apply for regulatory approval from the central bank. What to know? Ripple says it's expanding digital asset services in Brazil and plans to apply for a virtual asset service provider license with the country's central bank. The company's rolling out a integrated platform for banks and fintechs that combines cross-border payments, crypto custody, and brokerage treasury tools. Ripple's Brazil push comes amidst rapid expansion through billion-dollar acquisitions and launching a US dollar stablecoin, Ripple USA RLUSD. Ripple's payment-focused blockchain company, closely associated with our XRP Ledger. XRP Networks expanded its digital asset services in Brazil while preparing to apply for a license in the country's central bank, a move that would place it under the nation's new crypto framework. The company said Tuesday it's rolling out a broader set of services that bundle cross-border payments, digital asset custody, brokerage, and treasury tools. It said combined offering targets banks, fintechs that want to move money across borders, hold crypto, and manage liquidity in one system, which makes sense, right? You could do the cross-border payments. You could hold the assets so you can fund the cross-border payments, and you can custody so you could actually hold these crypto assets to make the payments and to broker it through the treasury. It is a plan to apply for a virtual asset service provider license with the Central Bank of Brazil in line with the country's crypto regulations. Latin America has always been a priority market for Ripple, not just because of the scale of the opportunity, but because Brazil has built one of the most advanced, forward-thinking financial systems in the world. Monica Long. The firm said that Brazil's several firms already use XRP payments. Network and crypto services. Banco, for example, handles same-day US dollar transfers, while Braza Bank uses the system for foreign exchange flows and issued real backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger, fintech, Norman, and other networks to shift funds between Brazil and the US and settling in stablecoins. Ripple's also pushing its custody product in countries aimed at institutions that need secure storage tied to trading tokenization. The firm said partners such as CRX and Just Token are using the setup to issue tokenized assets, including real world assets like commodities. The Brazil push comes as Ripple has been quickly expanding the acquisitions, building services around trading and digital asset infrastructure. This includes the 1.25 billion purchase of Prime Brokerage Hidden Road and buying Treasury business G Treasury for $1 billion. This firm also issues a US dollar stablecoin at 1.5 billion RLUSD via its custody arm. The firm says it has processed over 100 billion in transactions across the payment ecosystem. Recently, Ripple started a share buyback program that's valued the firm at 50 billion. MasterCard 1.8 billion deal clears a massive shift in global payment wars. That was a small article. XRPL hits 7.7 holders as institutional adoption and tokenization drives growth. After more than 13 years, XRP has reached the historic milestone, surpassing 7.7 million holders. It has become a key player in the evolving global digital asset economy due to rising adoption, growing institutional interest in tokenization, and financial integration. Ripple's ledger surpassed 7.7 million holders. The wallet count reflects the growing participation in both retail and institutional users. Network activity and transactions show strong real-world usage. Tokenization and efficient low-cost infrastructure makes our XRP a bridge between TradFi and DeFi. For the first time since inception, the XRP ledger, XRPL, surpassed 7.7 million holders. As per on-chain data, there is a steadily increase in wallet addresses due to renewed interest from institutional retail investors. This development coincides with the cryptocurrency industry growing transition away from pure speculation towards real-world use cases, tokenization, and financial integration. The increase in holding signals a resurgence in trust in XRP ecosystem, which is still among the world's oldest blockchain networks because it's the strong emphasis on payments, settlement efficiencies, and enterprise-friendly architecture. XRPL has continued to grow as its user base despite the rise and fall of other projects over the years. Adoption accelerates as institutional explore blockchain. Adoption has a massive interest recently as technology companies and financial institutions continue to explore blockchain. Settlements. In addition, the requirement in networks can handle transactions quickly and cheaply as also increased due to move towards tokenized assets and digital collateral. In the past, XRPL has positioned itself as a platform designed for quick transfers and low costs, which attracted both individual users and businesses seeking stablecoin solutions. As financial markets transition to digital infrastructure, networks with demonstrated performance are receiving more attention. What is going on? Y'all going crazy over here. They will drag out it as long as possible as well, brother. Pretty sad that we actually have to have a Congress vote on whether illegal immigrants should vote in our elections. The stolen 2020 is the only reason the election stolen in 2020 is the only reason anyone effing debates about Save America Act at all. 7 swing states stolen as well as all other congressional candidates. Well, at least 4 states that would probably more than have all Rhino Republicans representing their state in Congress run as Republicans but vote Dem. Trump won Alaska by 21 points. Traitors. You are a black man, BTM. Do you have any problem acquiring ID in United States of America? Clay, of course not, right? I got an ID. And I don't know what the big problem with asking people to bring their ID to vote anyway is, right? You already got the ID. I don't understand what the problem is. Nor do I understand why there's a big issue with asking people to do it at voting. But somebody was like, when you get medicine, right? When you get medicine over the counter, they ask for your ID, right? It's not a big deal. I don't understand why people are wigging out behind it. But a lot of people don't even realize most of these people aren't even voting, right? There's a lot of people with the Texas primary we just had, only 12% of the population voted, right? A lot of people are talking about voting acts. Most of the population not even voting, right? We got 50 million people in Texas. I think only 12 million voted, right? Like these guys don't even vote for real. I don't understand why people are upset and yelling about voting legislation and IDs and requirements. Most of these guys aren't even freaking voting, right? But back to the news. Network activity rises alongside holder growth. The surge in holders have coincided with the increase of network activity. The XRP Ledger active addresses hit a multi-week high, suggesting actual usage rather than speculation. The milestone also pushes the XRP price to $1.60 mark before leveling out, as price volatility is a common feature in the crypto market. This concurrent increase in users transactions suggests increased ecosystem trust and stronger underlying demand. XRPL strengthens position in tokenized economy. Another factor fueling the increased interest in tokenized assets as commodities, stablecoins, and financial instruments progressively migrate into distributed networks. Tokenization has become the most significant narrative in the industry. The RL, I just keep saying RL, the XRP ledger can manage large transaction volumes at low cost, making it one of the top systems for supporting tokenized assets. Large scale financial applications can benefit from its architecture, which enables developers and institutions to efficiently issue and transfer digital assets. Conclusion: the institutional interest continues to grow. Fast, low-cost infrastructure attracts enterprises. XRPL strengthens position. In contrast, many blockchains that rely on energy-intensive mining and intricate staking mechanisms, XRPL uses consensus process intended to speed and efficiently high traffic. Network traffic does not increase fees. This transaction completes within seconds. The ledger is appropriate for tokenized collateral systems, asset transfers, and international payments because of these features. Reportedly, there is an increase in network daily transaction volume. Millions of transactions are handled every day. This data demonstrates the network capacity to manage rising demand without experience significant performance and problems. Digital, the concern is a digital ID. Weird. We don't vote because the system is rigged and Trump is fixing it. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying in general, not any particular person, but as a group, there's a lot of people that don't vote, right? Just in general, especially here, bro. People aren't voting. I went to vote and looking around, and when I voted early, I just walked in and voted, right? There's no line, there's no people, there's no massive craziness, right? Because there's nobody freaking voting, man. You walk in and vote, look around, show them your I want to say you already show them an ID. You show them ID, you sign your name and you vote. But there's no line, right? Like previously in what is that? Pre-voting, early voting. Early voting, there was a line. I voted twice. Early voting, there's no line. Just walked in and voted and went home, right? So that's the problem. So ID, no ID, passport, whatever. You got to get people to vote. That's the problem. XRP launches Brazil services, but XRP is down 1%. Ripple launched digital asset services in Brazil and plans to apply for a virtual asset services license with the country's central bank. Yet XRP fell 1% on Tuesday. The bank Brazil expansion, Ripple's rolling out an integrated platform for banks and fintechs, combines cross-border payments, crypto custody, brokerage, and treasuries. CoinDesk reported the company will apply for a VASET license with the Central Bank of Brazil under the country's new crypto format. Latin America has always been a priority for Ripple. It's not just because of scale of the opportunity, but because Brazil has built one of the most advanced, forward-thinking financial ecosystems in the world. And that's what I say about voting here too, because they don't think their vote matters because it's all rigged and stolen. All in all, rigged. In Washington State, you're not allowed to show ID. I tried at the last election. Okay. What? What do you mean you're not allowed to show ID? What? No, man, Texas, you got to show ID. There's no walking in off the street. You got to show ID, and it's got to match your address to your address on the voting registration, right? Your address, your ID, and your information all have to match up, and then you can vote. I don't know if I've lived in a state where you can vote without showing an ID. Is this America? Where do you do that at? You're joking, right? Not allowed to show an identification. You're joking, bro. I gotta look that up. I never even in Georgia and Tennessee, you got to show a license. You got to show something. You got to show a picture ID. You can't vote without showing a picture ID. That's weird. They let y'all vote in Washington State without a picture ID. That's strange. But my thing is, these guys are not going to agree on the. That's why I was saying, with voter legislation, it's going to drag on and drag on and drag on because these guys are not going to be.
Hey, everybody, Economic Ninja here. XRP and
these guys are not going to be able to reach a consensus, right? They're going to keep changing, keep moving the ball. Like, oh yeah, we did this and that and this, and you need to require this. You need to have this. And you need to come with your license, your birth certificate, your passport. They're going to keep adding stuff and be like, well, we don't need that, and you need this, and it's going to get crazy, man. That was my only concern. And yeah, I think the elections are rigged, and I think there's lots of weird systems behind elections, right? But let's not fall into the election rabbit hole. Stick back to crypto.
Bitcoin holders are all over X right now talking about losses, taking tax losses. I want to go over this real quick and then give you my 2 cents on it. And real quick, the Crypto Cycle Pro course, the pre-filming discount is up soon. The countdown timer's on. Links down below if you want to take advantage of it before the price goes up. Bitcoin holders, and XRP holders, tax loss harvesting amid this price dip. This example goes out by a gentleman named Parth Hashtagi, if I got that right. An example is showing buying Bitcoin at 100,000, then selling it at 68,000 for a $32,000 paper loss, then repurchasing it immediately. This is valid in the US because crypto lacks wash sale trade rules that apply to stocks. Tax experts at like CoinLedger, Token Tax confirm this works for the 2026 filings, but it may not pretty soon. Helping offset gains elsewhere amid Bitcoin swings between 68,000 and 72,000 this month. So people are freaking out over this because a lot of people don't understand how this works because they're used to the traditional stock system in that if you buy a stock, let's say at $100 and it goes down to 80 and it's at the end of the year and you're like, man, I've already got a big tax bill. I'd like to take that loss, and you sell it for the 80, that's a $20, let's say, loss per share. You'd be able to take that. But the problem is you would not be able to take that loss if you rebought that stock within 30 days, a 30-day time frame. So you'd have to sit back on the sidelines. Well, what if the stock goes up? That's the big question, right? Well, in crypto, that doesn't exist. The wash trade, there's no wash trade rules. So crypto investors would turn around, and I talked about this in last December. I did my tax loss harvesting, and a lot of people did, where you sell at a loss and then you immediately rebuy. And you get to book that loss against that year's taxes. So this is actually taking off, and it's taking off at a sad point where people are getting so close to filing their taxes or crypto taxes, they're freaking out because of the new 1099 DA rule. And it's taking them for a loop, a lot of people, because if they were moving around a lot of crypto on and off exchanges, those weren't logged properly by Coinbase or by their exchange because it's not their fault. They don't know where it came from. And you've got to do a lot of work or you're going to be in a lot of trouble because Coinbase is going to send a record to you and to the IRS showing that you made a lot more than you actually did. So this is now picking up as steam on the internet. It's interesting. Hey, if you want to be part of the crypto Cycle Pro course, if you want to learn where we are in the crypto cycle and how to take advantage, when to buy and when to sell, links down below. Economic Ninja is out.
XRP holders, Ripple going all in Brazil. Please read the disclaimer. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, money makers. Currently, XRP and the crypto market are sitting and waiting to hear what's going to happen tomorrow. Not a lot of price action after yesterday.
Welcome
we
back
saw
to
some
the show,
big
ladies and
movements from
gentlemen.
the
We got a
crypto
great
market
one lined up.
from
XRP
XRP,
takes
about
the
a
number
7-8%
4 spot back.
movement.
We're up 8.1 on the
Pretty
7-day.
flat across the board
Largest banks
around
in
the
the
crypto
world and
market.
XRP
Stocks
in the
also
Clarity Act
nor
meeting
here nor
today.
there,
Oh,
not
yes, it
up
is.
nor
Somebody
down
roll
in a
that
huge
beautiful
way.
intro.
And I think everybody is just looking and anticipating to see what's going to happen tomorrow with the Fed meeting, with the PPI. But there are other things that we need to talk about here. We got some news. We got something that's Ripple's doing. Like I said, their statement, not mine, that they're going all in. So we're going to check all of that out. All I asked from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. Let's try to get 1,000 likes on this video. I know you guys can do it. Easy peasy for you. Check. Are you 1,000? Maybe you're 1,000? No? Yes, maybe. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.50. Sorry, I almost died there. 53 cents. My wife says I'm a hypochondriac. I don't know. What do you think? If you think you're going to die from a cough, you might be a hypochondriac. $1.53 here for XRP, down is minus 0.8% on the day. Bitcoin at 74,600. You can see flat. Ethereum, same, 0.5% down. Solana, 0.85%. But for the most part, pretty flat here. Interesting. I don't know what was going on here, that price action that we had just a few minutes ago. But for the most part, it is very interesting or expected that the day before the FOMC meeting, the Fed decision where it's basically 99% according to probabilities that he's going to leave interest rates where they are, that the market money is sitting on the sidelines. By the way, you're going to want to watch all the way to the end of the video because it's a very interesting stat about the current status of cash. Money of cash with retail investors right now. So you're going to want to watch, of course, all the way to the end. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, non-financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. I do not know what the market is going to do day to day. I can anticipate and expect and look upon my experience, what's going to happen. But, Trump can say something and that can rock the market. For example, he said that the U.S. doesn't need NATO, Japan, Australia, or South Korea, and says Iran's military is completely destroyed, according to Trump's Iran Navy, Air Force, air defense, and leadership at every level are gone. And he claims that the U.S. never needed NATO or any ally to begin with. This could be very interesting, and we'll see how this whole story develops in the next coming months, because this could shift significantly what's happening in Europe. So we'll see how that plays out. Right now, it might not be too critical, but Trump signals that the U.S.-Iran war will end soon. Trump says we weren't ready to leave Iran yet, but we'll leave in the very near future. So the question again is it 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 10 months? How long are they anticipating to stay and to continue this campaign? What are the exact goals? We don't really know. Okay, we can say, destroy all their missiles, take out their leadership and all that, or remove the regime maybe. I don't think that's going to happen this time. So what are the goals? When do they say, okay, we're good? When they're on their knees, I don't know. So it's going to be very interesting to see how long this takes. And again, oil prices, they're still high. Oil is at 96. So it's not over 100. So we're back under 100. But it's still high. Silver down again 1.5%. Gold down 0.9%, 0.09%. You remember when gold and silver were the hottest thing out there, right? And it's been like a month or so since we had the high. When was this? January. In January we had the high of 120. Now it's sitting at 79. So things shift very, very fast. And there's even potentially a crossover here on the 1348 EMA. Interesting if that actually happens, and we see a continuation to the downside. So again, markets can change, markets can shift, geopolitical things can change the story. So we have to take into consideration that every day, again, things can shift, things can happen. And just remember that if you are short-term investing, that things can be very fragile and very volatile according to the global news. You might be looking at, technical analysis, right? It's looking beautiful. It's about breakout, and I don't know what happened here. my thingamajig, the trend line got totally, I don't know what happened there. I think maybe my son was playing with it. I'll fix it later. But we had a trend line, and I don't know. I think I know what happened. There's something with the logarithms that I have to fix. I'll do that later. But anyway, so we have this current situation right now where the markets and the technical analysis could be pointing one way, but Trump says something, or the Iranians do something, or the Fed says something, or someone says something, or Clarity Act gets delayed, something that totally flips the market. So always remember that possibility. But this is interesting. We haven't seen these kinds of headlines in a while because the market has been what's the word I want to use? Not so great, right? And you usually see headlines like this about minting when the market is about to do a big movement, when there's interest in the crypto market, when there's possibility that people are going to need USDT or USDC, and they're going to go to the exchanges or wherever they're getting their stable coins. And we usually see this before a big movement. We're seeing this again. We haven't seen this in a while. I don't think since like October 10th, I've seen a headline like this, and I'm all over, crypto news. So this is very interesting. Again, is this a signal that we could potentially see some nice movements here soon? Time will tell, right? All the time travelers will tell us what they know. This is interesting. New CBOE files for 24/5 stock trading with SEC. CBOE Global Markets submits proposal to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to extend equity trading 24/5, targeting a December 2026 launch. So we know the CBOE, they do the You can see here the trading for the futures, right, for Bitcoin. Sorry, that's CME. Sorry, I got mixed up. CBOE, CME, it's all these C's, right? But this is okay. So let me rewind a little bit. So CBOE global markets. If we have this could be actually not so great for crypto because if you have something that's 24/7, right, crypto trading, and now you're going to have CBOE markets 24/5, so it's competition, right? And so maybe this will remove from the volumes of the crypto market starting at the end of the year. We'll see. Not lower volumes is not always bad. Okay, just let's put it that way. This was interesting. Also, there's a headline: MasterCard to acquire stablecoin infrastructure company BVNK for up to 1.8 billion. Deal adds on-chain payment rails for stablecoin, tokenized deposits, and tokenized assets across 130 countries to MasterCard's existing network. And so again, we're continuing to see these quote unquote regular fiat companies dabbling in the crypto market and entering the crypto market as well. It will be very interesting to see in the future how these integrations go. So now Ripple, you can see here the tweet from Ripple saying Ripple is going all in on Brazil. Ripple payments, 100 billion process, 60 plus markets live with Banco Genial, Baraza Bank, Nomad, Azifi, and more. Ripple custody, recent launch in Brazil with CRX. Ripple Treasury, decades of corporate treasury management expertise. One provider, the complete financial stack. You can see here the headline: New Ripple announces full institutional expansion across Brazil, covering payments, custody, prime brokerage, and treasury, in addition to filing a VSAP license with the country's central bank. So we'll see in the future, do we see more of these and more countries that are going to have Ripple total coverage? And of course, the more traffic, the more potential usage of XRPL, the more potentially we could see usage of XRP. And then potentially, again, it's all potentially, we could see movement with the price action to the upside. Okay. New, the CFTC has issued a no action letter to Phantom saying it won't pursue enforcement if the self-custody wallet provider facilitates user trading through registered intermediaries without registering as an introducing broker, aka a middleman that brings customers to trading firms. A notable signal for how regulators may treat crypto wallets versus intermediaries. So this is interesting, and we're seeing more distinction, more regulation, more clarity in the crypto market than we've ever seen before. And potentially we'll see how this is going to affect the crypto market going forward, where the CFTC starts regulating what it's supposed to regulate. The SEC is supposed to regulate what they are supposed to regulate. And we talked about this in the morning, that there's supposed to be a meeting today between the SEC chairman and the CFTC chairman, and they're supposed to iron out all the kinks and where each agency is supposed to, be on the crypto market. And so again, the more clarity, the more the bigger money potentially can come into the crypto market. Now, this is the interesting stat of the day. I don't know how you guys want to think about this or tackle this, but when we look at what's happening right now, and we look at the stock market and we look at the crypto market, we look at precious metals, it was surprising, but not surprising for me when I saw this headline. Breaking: investors has rotated into cash at the fastest rate since the pandemic amid the Iran war, with average cash holdings in portfolios rising to 4.3 of assets under management, right? So why would they potentially be doing this? Well, investors are rushing to, this is first of all, we'll see what Grok says, and then I'll tell you what I think. Investors are rushing to cash amid the uncertainty, right? Spiking oil and broader Middle East escalation. It's a classic risk-off behavior.
So shout out to Moneymaker moving forward. This is Stock Mo, and I want to see what Stock Mo has to say. Oh, man. Dang it.
Preserving capital and liquidity. And
was wondering why it was so low. I want to see what Stockmo has to say about the SAFE and Clarity Act.
Oh, folks, look at this XRP family. If you're with me, this is a bear burger. We are chomping down on them. You know how many of those people were out there absolutely throwing in the comments. Oh, it's gone to 50 cents. It's gone to 75, below $1 before you know it. And we were buying on this channel. I saw the other YouTubers selling and it's over, it's winter, but we were loading up. I said, no, no, no. It's a little different this time. There are so many positive catalysts, record-breaking tax returns for retail. Told you by the end of March, you're going to see a big pump. I've been patiently waiting. It is now pumping. What else did I tell you? That the Clarity Act will pass in some form before summer recess. I stand by that. And once that happens, gas on the flame. Well, I was going to say gas on the grill for the bear burgers, but yeah, gas on the fire. Man, the pump continues. We got a lot of good things happening, and I got the biggest announcement of all. You guys saw this. You saw, right? Let me pull it up here. You guys saw what we were doing yesterday. If you're in the Discord, you guys know what I was doing in the Discord, and I want to make sure you guys can all see this. Boom, boom, boom. I had arguably one of the biggest days. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my books. It's close. Arguably one of the biggest days I've ever had in trading in this channel. It's all about doing what we.
Bugatti, what's going on with your fam? Big Dog, what up? I'm back, baby. Clarity Act passes. Easter XRP to 10,000. Man, I wish, bro. XRP to 10,000 would solve everything, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Stop with the hopium, bro. Stop with the hopium.
It's about breaking the chains of poverty off, not going to work every single freaking week for 52 weeks to get 1 week vacation. If we're lucky, we're here to break those chains and get financial freedom. And then you know what? That's not where we're stopping. We're going to generational wealth. If you're with me, put FF in the comments and where you're from and hit the like button. Let's be absolutely dead honest. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I know you got a million different YouTubers out there. Fancy graphics, they're young, they're hip, they're cool. And you got old Mo here. 2-time national champion investor, 15-time state, recognized in DC, recognized on the Senate floor multiple times down in my capital. I'm telling you this. You can go with the fancy graphics or you can go with those who know what they're doing. And I know what I would pick every time. I'd pick me because that's what I'm doing. I'm picking me, and you should pick you and make sure you're doing your due diligence and surround yourself with people who know what they're doing, not because they're good YouTubers. All right. You don't see a million cutaways and everything else. Look at the big fancy YouTubers. That's what they do. Cutaways and all kinds of graphics. They pay editors $100,000 a year. It's just old Mo, Mrs. Mo. Trade.
Hold on. So you're saying want to bet some XRP that XRP is going to 10,000 by July? I would definitely take that bet, but we can talk about it offline, brother. Talk about it offline. But I would feel bad taking your money like that, man. So I couldn't even do it. But let's get back to what Mo says about the Clarity and Safe updates.
Hey, Coach, the team at the Discord. That's it, man. We're a tight-knit community, but man, we get things done. And if you're tired of doing this yourself, you want to be a part of what I'm doing, you get over there right now. First link down below. Boom. Get into the Discord. I'm trading today for my earner tier. You can get in there. This afternoon, I'm trading live. Right now, we knock 30% off the first month just to let people try it. A little over $1. There's the highest tier we got, which gets you private channels, a private. There's ground. Let me hear it.
Bugatti, I think Juvenile said it best. Bet 1,000, shoot 1,000. Meet me in the back of the casino. Still craps. Losing like a lot. Still dropping cash. That's paraphrase. Yeah, bet 1,000, shoot 1,000. But yeah, I ain't tripping. Back to see what he's talking about here, though. Keep it business, brother. Keep it business.
You guys hear him growl? No, but I see the American cheese on here, and I'll eat a little lettuce on there. I'm not afraid.
Yeah, that'll definitely be up our alley, bro. Boss yacht. Look, we could both come out there and sell around, bro. Ain't no problem. Definitely ain't no problems there. Buy us a yacht sail across the Caribbean. But either way, let's get back to the video because I want to see what he's saying about the SAFE Act.
I'm not afraid. And a pickle on the side. Ooh, I'm not an animal, folks. A pickle on the side. And that's how I do it. I'll do a medium burger, man, on the grill, little charbroil, little lines on it. Have me sitting down next to the creek, casting that line in, eating that bear burger. Big cold glass of lemonade. Oh, I'm ready. And you better be too. Because when you look at this, and you guys can see it, and everybody's going to jump on the bandwagon. I showed you my numbers. I showed you how I made money. Now you're going to have everybody else jumping on board. You know how it is. But I'm here to tell you what's going to happen next. The same way I told you this was going to happen right here with my indicator. It gave you, and I put it on YouTube for free, live, and I said, here it is at 138. We're now at 156. Massive push up, 20% in under 5 days. There you go. Did they give it to you? No. But here I am. My technicals are better than anybody out there, bar none. My indicator, humbly, is one of the best out there, if not the best. And it's next level. And I teach how to use it as we go in the Discord. 37 learning lessons in there. Get in there today, folks. Now I'm going to go over some things you need to know. One, my price prediction, we're just getting started. We're going to have ups and downs. You have moments where we have a double crust like this, where we break the Bollinger Band. And when we break that Bollinger Band and you're saying to yourself, oh, Mo, we broke the Bollinger Band twice. Yeah.
What up, Carlos from Brazil? What's going on with you, my guy? Thanks for joining. We were just talking about XRP expansion into Brazil, rolling out the integrated platform for banks and fintechs that combines cross-border payments and crypto custody and brokers and trading tools. The company said it applied for the Vasta Central Bank of Brazil under the country's new crypto framework. Latin America has always been a priority market for Ripple, not because of the scale of the opportunity, but because Brazil has built one of the most advanced and forward-thinking financial ecosystems in the world. My God, Carlos, can you confirm or deny that? Not to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to be for sure. But let's get back to Mo. See if he ever gets around to this Clarity Safe Act. Let's see, it's got to be here. Fast forward this a little bit. It's talking again.
The funding bill, or not the funding bill, the SAVE Act. So that's the big thing. They want to pass the SAVE Act. More airport disruptions expected as TSA agents quit amid first weekend without full pay. You got anger. TSA having to go through all this again. They are dealing with this pain, suffering, and everything yet again. Now, that leads us into what's going to happen. Well, I'm going to share with you what I've been told, how this plays out. And you guys will know. And you're going to see why I believe the price for XRP is just getting started on this rip higher. We have consolidated at a low point. Look at this. Look at this consolidation. We have consolidated since the day I loaded up right here. What was that? February 5th and then 6th. And for those who follow me, you know that. Look what happened. Sideways, 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 and now we're not. Is this going to be a fake out where we come all the way down and go lower? Or is it the beginning of something else? And I'm on the side of the beginning of something else. I believe XRP is just getting started. For those who know, you know. If you follow this channel, you know what I got invested. This is a make or break for my family. This is generational wealth. If I am wrong, I end up working an extra 5 to 10 years to recover. If I am correct, I create generational wealth. And that is what I am trying to do. I share with you on this channel my research, and I will do it again right now. So We know what's happening. You see the charts. You see the consolidation. We have a little breakout. For those bears, I have them come in. They're like, this is no different than right here. And I'm going to share it with you. They tell me, and this is a couple of months ago, back in January, we broke across, we rolled up, 1, 2, 3, 4 breakings of the Bollinger Band, and we thought that was the run. You know what happened, though? We had the cancellation of the Clarity Act. Look what happened afterwards. Yeah, we had it right here, the 12th, 13th, and then they said we have to cancel the Clarity Act. Down we went. And going up, hitting the 15 or the 50 was fine. We're starting to recover. Canceled the Clarity Act. Down we went. And that was the end of it. So when everybody thinks that, this is a perfect blow off top, down, test 50, start to run. We would have absolutely ran up to 270, except they canceled it. They canceled the committee vote. So when they canceled the committee vote, we ended up just getting crushed. But that's so much so that it was overdone. And the bears piled in. They got greedy, and hogs get, you know what happens when bears get rich, or what is the old saying? Bears get fat, bulls get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Well, there's a lot of hogs that jumped in on the downside, and now they think this is going to be, hey, we're going to go way down. We're not. The base is in. We had war right here on this candle, and we still ended up the next day at 135. So war, closing down of the government, all these things can't push us down below 135. Why would the bears believe we're going down below 135? Makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. So that tells me that the short squeeze is starting. And who did a video on the short squeeze a couple days ago to let you know before it happened? Before it happened, I did. And I did what I needed to do to take advantage of it. And I am taking advantage of it, as I showed you earlier. So that moves us into the SAVE Act and what's going to happen. So I'm going to tell you this right up front. For everybody listening or watching right now, here's how this plays out. You're going to have the Senate go in. They're going to try to generate tons of headlines over the next week or two. But it's not going to get the 60 votes required to get it to pass. It's just not going to happen. Senator Thune gets to demonstrate to the president, to the base, that they fought and they wanted it done. But guess what? Doesn't happen. The Democrats get to make the case, their case against it. And that standalone SAVE Act bill dies on the floor. It never gets across the finish line, right? No, hold your horses. That's the game plan. All right. And it's going to take time. And that takes a few weeks. Now, remember, these are my own, this is my opinion on what's going to happen. My little stock mode crystal ball. Knowing President Trump and over the years, all my research, he is going to file through that. He's not signing any legislation. I'm not going to sign a thing. And he's already said, I want the SAVE Act passed or I'm not signing anything. So I absolutely believe he's not going to sign a thing. Doesn't matter. Funding, whatever, does not matter. It's going to create one of the largest legislative traffic jams we have ever seen, ever. And I mean ever. And so they're going to figure out what they're going to do. And you're not going to have the Clarity Act pass. You're not going to have funding bills pass. Everything's going to be frozen. Nothing's going to get done. Now that moves us. And you look at it, you're saying, well, what about all the committee calendars and everything they start to schedule and they're trying to, doesn't matter, man. They're all frozen. Nothing gets done. When the president says I'm not doing anything and he sticks to it, he can force the Senate, Congress, their hands. They can force it. And that's what I'm expecting. So everything, everything in the room is just sucked out until they do something to appease the president. So how do they pass bills in D.C. when you don't have the 60 votes for the Senate? Everything's frozen. The president won't do anything. And you need both sides to agree on something to get it done. And on top of it, the majority of Americans want something done with the SAVE Act. I think it was 70% was some of the polling that said about making sure people are whatever they are for the voting. Anyways, when kind of broad public support is there and the president wants it, it can become a massive headache for both parties. Now, how do you pass it? Well, he's going to threaten all operations of the government. I'm talking about Trump. So they're going to all, Democratic and Republican leadership are going to look for an off ramp, and they're going to work together. They always work together. They do pass things together, believe it or not. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to pass the SAVE Act. Oh, but Mo, oh my goodness. No, calm down. Both sides calm down. You guys know I'm not political, but I know politics. They're going to work together. They're going to revamp what it looks like, and then they're going to ride it on a must-pass funding bill. And both sides can say, we did what we did, we did. And and maybe a continuing resolution, an omnibus spending bill. One of those ways is how it's going to get done. And then you're going to have brinkmanship. You know how many times I brought up brinkmanship with you, telling you in advance that it's going to happen? Clarity Act, brinkmanship. It's a game of chicken. Both sides fight until finally you shut down the government and somebody has to blink. And so Trump's going to say, I'm not opening the government until you pass something for the SAVE Act. It's not going to be the version you see today. And that's the one thing I want everybody to understand. The Democrats are going to water it way, way, way down. And then it's going to pass as they, like I said, on one of those ways. They're not, here's the deal. The government's going to be shut down. The Democrats will figure out a solution that works for both sides. What's that going to look like? What's the negotiated version? I have my opinions. So I'm going to share them in this video. They're going to get a lot of things from this. The Democrats are going to get a ton of funding priorities for their own projects. That's the way it works in DC. The president and the Republicans will get a handful of Democrats and give them a lot to get this thing across the finish line. And it has to be watered down. And for everybody saying, oh, no, that's not, it's how it works. I've been explained to me. And that's how Trump will be able to sign a massive package, massive. And he'll declare a historic victory and election integrity will be upheld. And then, of course, you're going to have the Democrats saying, we helped open the government. We stopped them from crashing the entire world, and we watered it down to make sure it only made sense. And everybody wins. The marketing teams for both sides go out and do their thing, and you can't even tell who won or who didn't. Both sides will make it sound like they won. So what's it look like, Mo? Tell us. From what I've been talking to people, this is the expectations. We'll see how close I come. Because you might be saying right now, what's this got to do with XRP and the XRP price prediction? Just bear with me. This is a little bit longer video. They're going to grandfather in existing voters. They're not going to say every single voter out there has to redo everything. It's too much. It's not going to happen. What they will do is say that, because the original one wants everybody, all the millions of already registered voters to reprove their citizenship. That's not going to happen. But they will water it down and say there's a grandfather clause that everybody is good, but first-time voter registrations need to be proved. I think that's going to be the biggest watering down. And it's just like when I used to negotiate contracts. What about all the new hires? We can make them pay the extra money and we'll grandfather in all of you. And that was always something that all the voters, all the people who I represent would be like, yeah, it's all right. Let them deal with it, but we'll get grandfathered in. And that's the way it is. And that's the way this will be as too. They'll broaden the acceptable documents that are okay. Currently, the bill has a narrow list of acceptable documents. That's going to be expanded. They're going to expand it. There's way too many massive hurdles. They will make that much, much higher. They could allow states to verify citizenship through the DMV, combination of standard IDs and utility bills, sworn affidavits with that. It'll be much easier for people. And the other thing, this is the third big one I was told, is that they wanted to eliminate the ability to register to vote online or by mail. That's going to be absolutely changed. They both, Republicans and Democrats, rely heavily on this kind of voting and registration and everything. They'll find a workaround. You might be able to submit some of your partial ID numbers, like the last 4 digits of your social security number, where they can cross-reference this with federal databases instead of just walking in with your birth certificate or something like that. So I think that's something they'll do. And then, of course, this was one that I think caught a lot of people off guard, because I think people would be terrified to volunteer to work as an election worker, is stopping or stripping the criminal penalties for election workers. I think that'll be taken out. And they will come up with something for that. I think that I think that's just going to be stripped out entirely. But I think in stripping it out, the Democrats will say, you get rid of that, water down what I already told you, then it'll pass. Now, that's from the conversations I have had, a very in-depth conversation. It all made sense to me. Now, you might say, what's the big deal? Well, here's how it's going to play out. I have looked at what's going on a massive macroeconomic situation. You got the world's biggest tax returns happening as we speak right now in the U.S. And it's pumping, just like I told you it would pump before the end of March. You guys can go back and look at my videos. I told you by the end of March, we will be much higher than we were back then, and we are. Now, how high do we go? Well, that's the $1 million question. I don't have an absolute answer like, oh, it's going to be here. If I did, I'd be a billionaire. But I can tell you what I think's going to happen. Well, right now you have the March grind, and we can pull that up, and I'll show you the March grind. The March grind is this, what you're looking at right here. We're going sideways. We're finally going up a little bit, and we're getting a little bit of a pump. Now, I told you if we confirm above 154, and that means finish above it, which if we can finish today above it, that's fantastic. And then one more candle up. That becomes our support. And at that point, that we might hit it. And then I think we go sideways a little bit up higher, but that 167 comes into play. That is the open, let's run, because there really is nothing to stop us at that point. A lot of open space between there. A little bit at 160. You're going to see a little bit at 160, a little bit of selling pressure, but not as much as the 144 to 146. And we already blew through there. So now we're getting into that disgusting period where retail's getting their tax returns. You're seeing it start to pump. It's just going to get ugly in terms of the bears getting toasted, I believe, as we go forward. So now, as we get that, I believe 167 is going to be tested in March. And we possibly could blow through there, depending on how much we get. If we get a little bit of a signal that the Clarity Act's getting any kind of positive mojo in there, and the riders, and of course, but that's not what I think's going to happen. I think this is where you're going to have, we get into April. Now, this is where it gets nasty. DHS, and I know you guys know Department of Homeland Security. That's TSA workers at the airports, and it's already getting bad. There's 2-3 hour delays. It's getting bad again. And so what's going to happen is we stretch into April, and it continues to get bad as they're not getting paid. More and more calling off. I think the average call off was 2%. Now they're up to 6% a day, and it's only going to become more and more. People are quitting. And as we go forward with that, they're going to have to do a grand bargain in the Senate, the House, all of it. And one of those grand bargains, and this is my opinion on how it goes down, they're going to have the SAVE Act in there, as I told you, because the president won't sign anything until they do, until it passes in some form. And what that grand bargain looks like is actually attaching, in my opinion, this is what I'm thinking, the Clarity Act in skinny form. And I've been telling you that's my main way of passing it, because I just don't think they can get it done working together, because it just look. I know there's months and months and months of work, and I still have a 25% chance they pass it as a whole. But my main 65% chance is a skinny rider on this grand bargain. That's how I think it. I've been telling you this, and so it is a beautiful bipartisan sweetener for this thing. Why? Because there's moderates on both sides who are crypto folks that want this done. They can go back. The Democrats especially can say, we added on the crypto thing. We protected certain things, and it's done. And I think you're going to see XRP getting a lot of money front running from those who are down in DC in the know. Now, I'm not in the rooms, and I talk to my people, and they tell me a ton, but I'm definitely not in the door closed room, and they're talking. They know what they're doing, and you'll see it. They legally can trade on this information. Legally. Until that changes, they're going to make money, and that's why they can go in and make millions. And unfortunately, I'll get some really good information, sometimes just as good, but not every time. And this is one of them ones I just don't know. So I'm going to be having my ear down to the floor, listening to what I can hear, calling everybody, texting everybody, and we'll see where we go. But for now, I think you're going to see XRP climb in April. And I'm going to show you this right now. And based off of, there's more I'm watching, but I think it goes 185, folks. You listening? 185 up to, I have $2 here to 205. 185 to $2 to 285. I have this zone right here. I really think we hit the zone in April. So March, I just told you, I think we get up to here by the end, 167, possibly higher. And then I told you April in this zone. All right. And there's possibilities for more, folks, because when you add in the retail money, it definitely can jump even higher. And it's always changing. I have different models I'm using. I did a model on the XRP price on my Crypto Mo channel. A little different than this. Not quite the same info. So the model gave me a couple different prices. This model's a little different. All right. So for those watching, saying, whoa, it's a little, just off a little teeny bit. But man, it is big. That leads me to May. Now, we get into May. I think when we get into May, and there's a possibility. Let me, the mid, that's the front, the mid. When we get into the end of April into May, my model has, by the end of April, we should be up to 240 to 280 range, 240, 280. If, and here's the deal, the money rotates from Bitcoin into the alts for a small up altcoin push by the end of the year with the Clarity Act being added. Remember, the Clarity Act has to be added on as a rider. The SAVE Act has to be done. President has to sign it. If all this happens, I see $3 to $4.25 absolutely as a target in May. Possibly even early, late April if they announce it all. So I just want you to know that's my target prices. And there's a lot of big things that have to happen for this. You got to have the grand bargain, including the Clarity Act. If the Clarity Act is not in there because they're going to try to pass the whole thing, unfortunately, the numbers drop a little bit. No, they don't go down where we lose everything, but they do drop because everything will be spent and everything. We want that done somehow. Maybe, I don't even know. I don't know how it's going to be done, but that's what I'm leaning on. Now, if they say there's a grand bargain for the Clarity Act, man, that's even better. Everything's going to take off then. Like, it's going to be massive then. They get the grand bargain for the SAVE Act and the opening of the government, and you get the whole Clarity Act done. Oh, it's game over, man. Massive move higher. But right now, I don't know which one's going to be. I still have 65% chance on the skinny rider, and it's going to be big. And that short squeeze continues to pop until we get up to that 4s, and they're going to have a sell-off down to mid-2s as they take profit. And I'm going to be one of them taking profit. And so if you want to ride along with me, you guys want to see all the moves, you want to see what's going on, you click that first link right here. You get into the membership today. Don't do it by yourself anymore. I'm dropping plays. I'm dropping option plays. I'm dropping crypto plays, and I'm trading live today. And I do it multiple times a week just for the Discord. First link down below. If you've been in there, get back in there.
So shout out to Stock Mo with the updates on the Clarity. And this is the Digital Perspective.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb and Brown, that's what we're talking about this morning. Listen, if you're concerned about your assets or being hacked, or you worried about whether you set your market orders correctly when you're trying to use the platform, you don't have to worry about that here at Caleb and Brown. First of all, the institutional grade custody is free. You're not charged unless you buy, sell, or swap. And why do they do that? I personally believe they do it because they know how incredible their white glove service is. What I'm talking about is human customer service 24/7, 365. And let me tell you something. The response has been absolutely overwhelming. Everyone, including myself, have been extremely happy that I finally get the same level of service that I get if I was at a Fidelity or if I was at a Charles Schwab. I can pick up the phone and call my broker and tell him, sell it all, buy it all, or whatever I want, and it happens in seconds. In seconds. And when, as fast as my life is moving, I don't need to wonder if my assets are safe. I don't need to wonder if I can catch that dip. I know that I can, because I can speak to my broker and get it done. XRPwealth589.com, and you can get it done too. And no more worrying about whether you've been hacked or what have you. It will all be safe. XRPwealth589.com. Sign up today. Let's take a look at this. $2.6 trillion market cap for crypto, ladies and gentlemen. The market's off 0.1%. But look at this. Bitcoin creeping back over 73,700 right now. Ethereum 2,300 plus. XRP takes the number 4 spot back. We're at 151 right now. We're up 1.9 on the 24, but we're up 8.1 on the 7-day. Now we're ranging between 147 and 160 overnight. How about that? So we could see some real action. We are seeing some real action here. Will it continue is the question, right? That is the big question here. Nonetheless, it is making news, ladies and gentlemen, that the market is on the move. Expect big things from the Clarity Act today. And then he puts XRP tag in. Damn right. Shout out to Paul Barron. Look, we got 43 days until XRP Las Vegas. And after overwhelming messages that I received, please keep the sale going until April 1st. I need it till April 1st. Well, I made the promise to you that, we were going to put these prices back, and we only made a sale to celebrate the passage of the Clarity Act, which has not happened yet. And I'm a man of my word. So guess what? The sale's on until April 1st. Get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen. 43 days till the largest XRP conference in the world. And I assure you, we are putting the bells and whistles and the bows on this thing. You are going to love what we have in store for you, ladies and gentlemen. XRPLasVegas.com. Get your tickets and your room. Discounts are built into the links, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear from Crypto Mom. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce says putting things on chain could be quite useful in many aspects.
And it's not the SEC's job to decide how the market moves forward, but tokenization is one of those areas that, since the administration changed and since the attitude toward crypto and blockchain changed, people have come to us and they've said, we really think tokenization has potential here. Now, of course, tokenization of money market funds is something that had been worked on for a long time, but as you say, there's some new developments there, and more generally, I think people are looking at where it would be most useful. Putting things on chain could be quite useful in many aspects.
Absolutely. And by the way, this literally is a moment where you can go in and see the SEC and not worry if you're going to be sued no matter what. And to add to that clarity, Senator Tim Scott, I should say, holds a Senate Banking Committee meeting today at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. That could reveal the next step for the Clarity Act. And he'll soon be sitting on the DC blockchain stage for the digital chamber as well to explain where we are in that markup vote. And I couldn't be more excited. I'm a super fan of Senator Tim Scott. I think he's always done a fantastic job as senator. And I think he's the right kind of leader to get this legislation brought to where it needs to be, which is passage, ladies and gentlemen. So we wait for that. Nonetheless, while we wait, we got to hear the detractor here. Here is Charles Hoskinson, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen. He's not happy.
But Brad Garlinghouse talking about that, we need to get this done. We need the bill done, but not necessarily advocating for, talking about retail at all, because let's face it, XRP is one of the, just like Cardano is one of the larger cryptos, is very popular, and it's popular because of retail. And you don't get to where you are, especially in crypto, without the little guy, without retail.
Yeah, well, I couldn't agree more. But I think they're making a calculation that retail is going to move over to structured products. Like, what's the best way to own Bitcoin? A lot of people, it's through their E-Trade account buying a structured product and having somebody else worry about the whole thing. And they own it like they own a stock. And that's a world of difference than self-custody. And that's a world of difference than a DeFi ecosystem or all these other things. I try to stay away from talking about XRP because every time I do, I just get mobbed by a whole army of people. Even this debate between Brad and me, where I said, like, no, a bad bill is not better than no bill. I firmly believe no bill is necessary at this juncture until we get a proper bill, because I'll take the ambiguity. At least I have the courts to fight in. If I get a bad bill, there's now a rulemaking committee that can be weaponized, and it will shut down the entire U.S. retail cryptocurrency ecosystem, and we will be slowly picked apart over a 10 or 15-year period. And we'll be-
All right, let me just jump in here while he's on the complaint train. First of all, Charles is a billionaire. So Charles is sitting there saying no bill is better than a bill. He has the luxury of being extremely wealthy while he makes such a statement. Number two, he talks about being able to fight for his own clarity if we don't have any kind of legislation put through that's a bad bill. Where the hell was he when Ripple was getting their ass kicked and handed to him in the SEC case? Thank God Ripple won. Where was Charles? I'll tell you where Charles was. Charles was on the sideline saying that we were all Looney Tunes and there was no conspiracy or grand conspiracy, when in fact there actually was. And you could even back that up and get the receipts in the Epstein file dump. So at the end of the day, a lot of these people out here in this space are brilliant when they're in their lane. And I know that Charles is brilliant when it comes to working on tech. There's no question. I don't question that at all. But it is clear that he needs to stay the hell off media if he can't get his points in a better place than they are right here. Because this isn't advancing anything for him or anyone else. Do better, Charles. If you want to make a difference, do better. Take some of that money that affords you the luxury to say, oh, I'd rather have no bill. And how is it that Charles was invited to Capitol Hill and now Charles is back on the outside? Oh, we're starting to see a pattern here. Sometimes you're too smart to stay in the room. And that's what this is. Nobody's got themselves together except Charles. Now, Charles is brilliant, but apparently his brilliance has led him to being on the outside of the room. How about that one? I don't know about you, but I'd like to not be that smart. Meanwhile, while the grown-ups continue to work on getting problems solved so we can get legislation, while Charles complains from the sideline yet again. Now, here's a compass you can look towards. It's CEO Cody Carbone from the Digital Chamber, ladies and gentlemen. And coming right here, we know that the meeting today happens at 10 a.m. for the Senate Banking Committee with Senator Tim Scott. We also know from Cody's language yesterday we covered at the Digital Chamber, he believes negotiations between the crypto industry and the banks are nearing a conclusion. Ban yield on idle balances and allowing transaction-based rewards. See that? How about that, ladies and gentlemen? So hang in there. Hopefully we learn more later today. Then brings us to this. Breaking T. Rowe Price officially files new amendment number 2. Guess what? For an active crypto ETF. They sure did. And it explicitly includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and Shiba Inu in their assets in basket. There you have it. And then here we know Evernorth Chief Sagar Shah says massive potential ahead of XRP adoption, just getting started. Take a listen to this clip right here.
For the committee who may not be familiar, could you briefly explain what Evernorth does? Sure, absolutely. So Evernorth is set to be the largest publicly traded XRP treasury company. We'll be traded on the NASDAQ under the ticker XRPN. And so in essence, what we do is we'll be acquiring XRP and putting it to work in the XRP ecosystem.
So what potential do you see in XRP ledger ecosystem?
Yeah. So I see XRP as being structural to finance. And so I see a lot of potential, a massive amount of potential for XRP. For example, I know cross-border payments is a market that's worth over $150 trillion per year. And the existing system is just really poor. They charge 6% just to send maybe like a $200 payment across the border. At the same time, we're starting to see a lot more regulatory clarity around XRP and blockchain. With the SEC decision in the US a few years ago, you're seeing MiCA in Europe, and a lot of really advanced and progressive frameworks both in Japan and across the rest of Asia. And so all these large major financial institutions are starting to engage. Goldman recently announced that they held $150 million of XRP ETFs at the end of 2025. 1 billion has flowed into these ETFs since in the back half of 2025. And I think what's really impressive is that we're still very early. The adoption of XRP is just getting started.
I think that's an excellent clip from Cigar at Evernorth. Now let's take a look at this, because we're seeing evidence of traditional finance moving its way over. And this news right here is the digital marketplace is important to the future. You bet it is. And Ripple is the right partner to take us there. Eddie Gonzalez, president of iPayout, says Ripple Payments helps iPayout deliver real-time payments in the U.S. and Canada. Let's take a listen.
We're wanting our clients to build new business models like micro settlements, just-in-time shipping, financing, etc. that simply wouldn't be feasible before, all because the phones can move when and where they need to instantly. The digital marketplace is going to be the future, and Ripple is the right partner to take us there.
There you have it. And I think not only they're taking them there, guess who else they're taking there? JP Morgan, because this is in the little clip. If we go down into this little clip, look at this stuff. XRP, all these things jumping off here, right? Well, they caught, you know how this community is. This community don't miss nothing, nothing. So in those shots, you see JP Morgan direct connected to XRP. So there you have that. That's off the table. We don't have to wonder about that anymore. Or how about this? We knew JP Morgan, who JP Morgan is, but what if that WF right there stands for Wells Fargo? Come on in. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Bring them on in here. Bring everybody in here. How much volume would Ripple and JP Morgan integration bring to the XRP ledger? Smoke Dog goes down the rabbit hole, as he always does. JP Morgan Chase accounts for more than half of the payment traffic on Swift's ISO 20022 services. Swift moves an average of 29 trillion every single day, they say. So 29 trillion times 365, you get it. That's a lot of heat. That's a lot of chicken, ladies and gentlemen. Now imagine even a fraction of that flowing through Ripple and the XRP ledger. It's exactly how I see it too, and exactly how I believe it'll go. Now, with all of that, obviously we need legislation to set all of that in motion, so that's not changed. We should get an update on that today also. But to go along with that, look at what's going on the markets here. Coinbase order books show that it is now 9 times easier to push XRP to $2.25 than it would be to push it to 75 cents. So let that sink in for a moment. Doesn't mean it'll happen, but it just means that there's not a lot of resistance in the order books to get to 225. The question is, will we? And if we do, will it be because of positive news coming out later today that helps begin to carry that push on up to 225? This is why I say, you know, if you haven't gotten your ticket to XRP Las Vegas, it is quite likely that we will be celebrating the passage of that legislation when we get there. Don't mess around and don't miss it. And I can assure you, regardless of whether that legislation is going through at that time, it is going to be the best conference you've ever been to. I'm going to make sure of it. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.
So shout out to the digital perspectives. And that concludes for today. So thanks for joining. Trying to figure out where I was. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. When you combine regulatory developments, international expansion, and growing adoption, you start to see why the crypto community is paying attention to XRP right now. Of course, the market is always unpredictable. Let's see. Of course, the market's under, but these developments highlight how the digital asset ecosystem continues to evolve. If you enjoyed these updates, make sure you like the video, subscribe for more XRP news, and share the stream with the community. So thanks for watching. And as always, it's your main man, BTM, signing out. So thanks for joining. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. And as always, stay dangerous. And let's get back to the money, guys. And miners out. So thanks for joining. And don't forget to sign up for the BTM Crypto News Network to stay current on events. Miners out.